In this video, I'm testing out the latest firmware update on the Mini 4 Pro, testing out all the features, is there any issues, and also flying this drone head on into some trees to test out the obstacle avoidance. Let's get into it. So over this last week, whilst on a trip in Norway, I've been flying the Mini 4 Pro on the latest firmware update, and firstly the Norwegian fjords. What a spectacular place. I cannot wait to show that footage to you. It's coming really soon. So the latest firmware update on the RC2 and the Mini 4 Pro is version 02020200. Now when I was in Norway, the drone, everything was working great as in relation to photos and videos, but I was hearing a lot of people saying on the previous update that certain features weren't working. So what I wanted to do when I got back was to fully test this out, test a lot of the features on here to make sure everything was working fine. Now it is a lengthy test because I do go into a lot of detail, but hopefully you pick something up as well and you learn something along the way. If you do enjoy tech and drone content, just hit that subscribe button. I've got loads of content coming really soon, especially this Norway footage. You don't want to miss out on that, and some new products that are coming out soon as well. So hit that subscribe button, completely free. And if you get any value out of any part of this video, just hit that like button. It really does help out. Let's get into that test. So the first thing I do is connect to my mobile hotspot, make sure I've got the latest firmware. We know what DJI like, always pumping these updates out, so I check this again and I've got the latest firmware. And this is version 02020200 flying on the Mini 4 Pro. So as we take off, there's that AR landing logo, really cool. So let's get this drone in the air. We're in a pretty good location here, but remarkably, it's actually not raining in the UK, which is really surprising. It's July, and I think we've had like maybe 2 days of actual dry weather literally since January, so not the best start to the year, but nevertheless I digress. This is a fantastic location. So the first thing I want to actually test out, especially around all these trees, is the compass. So the bottom left hand corner was where you have your compass. You can swipe across, and then when you swipe across, you're going to have access to look out of the obstacle avoidance sensor cameras. Now you can actually swipe across here and then actually enlarge it as well to get this really big full screen view, and every time you touch one of these arrows, you're going to look out of one of the different cameras. Really useful, especially when flying here, so I can see exactly where these trees are. So when you're going to be flying through tight spaces or enclosed gaps, then this is a really useful feature that we saw a few months ago. I also want to test out the 3 speed modes as well, making sure they're working correctly. So this is Cine, gives you that cinematic feel, really slowed down. I really enjoy using this. And then normal mode. So we're going to actually just rise up above these trees. And then I'm just going to actually just rotate that gimbal downwards. Really important to have really smooth gimbal rotation if you want to actually mimic some of these shots. And then I really do not recommend this, but what a better way to test sports mode than to do some tree skimming. So sports mode turns off all of your sensors. You can see that red icon in the top right hand corner. So you do need to be super careful when using this, and it is risky, but it does look really cool as well. It gives this really nice effect. So do this at your own risk. Don't be coming at me, but if you've got DJI Refresh, why not? So I hope you enjoyed that first section there. We're going to actually move over now into the settings, and then we'll conduct some more tests in a minute. Now it's always important to look at the settings, because although you might not receive new settings, your settings might have changed in a firmware update. So go and check these. Obstacle avoidance action, I have this set to bypass. This means that, as you'll see shortly, when the drone comes across an obstacle, it will bypass it and go around it. Now bypassing options, you can select nifty, but this basically just means it's going to be really daring. It's going to you're going to put yourself under unnecessary risk. I don't use that. Just set it to normal. Normal is risky enough, to be honest. Display radar map, always have that on. Now, advanced return to home. We don't talk about this enough. Now, I use presets because I'm boring and I don't want to take that risk. But you can use optimal. So preset, what this will do is it will fly upwards to your preset height. It will then clear any obstacles and just come back in a really straight, boring line, but it's safe. Now, if you use what DJI want you to use, which is optimal, the drone will then determine itself the best situation, the best conditions to come back to you. So when I select it now, you can see it's doing this really bizarre route back. Now, this is okay in this scenario, but would you want to risk this, like in different locations around a city or through all of these trees? I wouldn't. I would rather have the drone go straight up in a straight line, clear all the obstacles. So for me, I'm keeping it on preset, and that's what I would highly recommend you to as well. If you want to use optimal, that's fine, but again, it's just more risky, more chance of your drone crashing. Now, update home points. This is really going to be useful if you're going to be walking or cycling on a bike and the drone is tracking you or following you. Your home location is going to be changing. If you hit controller and then hit OK, that home point will update to your new location. So that's really handy to actually know how to use that. Now, under AR settings, I have all of these turned on. These are really cool. We saw these a few months ago. I would highly recommend keeping all of these on. So I've already shown you one when I took that drone off. It shows you the landing position, but AR home point is really, really handy. You can see on the screen there's that little H icon. Now, as I turn that drone around, the H icon is now on the bottom right-hand corner. And as I rotate the drone around, that H icon is still in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's now moving and it's going to show me my home location, which is straight ahead. This was introduced with the DJI FPV drones. We now have it on the cinematic drones. Keep that turned on. Now, your max altitude and distance, these could have reset on a firmware update, so it's always handy to check this. So your max altitude is going to be around about 120 meters, 400 feet. That's the max altitude you should be flying upwards to. And then distance, it's going to depend on your country. So go and check them before you go off and fly. They are crucial. Now, at the very bottom, again, another crucial one, advanced safety settings. If you get a bit too confident, you fly your drone too far away, or you actually lose connection, you've lost your drone, you're absolutely shitting yourself thinking, where's that drone? The drone will come back to you if you select return to home. If you click descend, it's going to descend wherever the hell it is. And hover, this is going to be really handy if you're, say, on a boat or you're cycling. You don't want that drone to go back to your original home point. You want to recover it yourself, then select hover. But 90% of the time, just keep it to return to home. Now, a message from the sponsor, and we'll get back into this. This video is sponsored by Lexar, and I've been using their memory cards on my drones now for the last couple of years. I used to use the SanDisk Extreme micro SD cards and they were fine, but unfortunately on 2 separate occasions I lost footage on my drone and also my main cameras as well due to corrupt files. And with these drones not having dual memory card slots, that's just 2 times too many. You do not want to be losing footage because of your memory card. On all of my drones I'm using the Lexar Fly cards and the Lexar Professional SD and CF Express cards on my main cameras. But they've also just brought out an entry-level budget version as well called Silver Plus. These are available in SD card and also micro SD card as well for your drones. You're still going to get really fast read and write speeds. And I've got the 256GB versions here, but you can also get up to 1TB, so more than enough storage, especially for your drones or your camera. The last thing you want is to have corrupt files on your drone or your memory card, so having high quality SD cards is really important. These new Silver Plus cards are really good value, so I'm going to link them at the top of the description. Go and check these out. Any of the Lexar products, I highly recommend them. Let's get back into this test. I really do recommend those Lexar cards, really good. Now, under control, these are where you're going to have some of your focus track settings, which is your active track, making sure that these are all selected before. I go through a lot of these in my drone cheat sheets, telling you the exact custom settings that I use. Same with the gain and expo tuning, how that actual drone handles itself in the air. So go and check them out as well, making sure they're set as you did before. Now, camera, you can keep it on normal if you're a complete beginner, you don't want to do any color grading, you want fast results. I personally shoot in D-Log-M. That's going to give me the very best in actual terms of video quality. Now, it's a flat color profile, which you'll see when I'm actually showing you some of the drone content, and then I color grade it using my own LUTs to actually get the style I want. Now, talking of style, sharpness, have this down to -1. Otherwise, it's going to be too sharp. It's going to look like iPhone footage. And noise reduction, keep that on 0. By default, I think it's on +1 or +2 sharpness, which is far too much. Now, transmission, I'm going to make a new video on this. I talked about this last time. This is all to do with the new 4G dongle support, which is going to be available on the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3, but we'll talk about that in a later video. It's always important to keep your grid lines on as well. So we're going to switch over now to the vertical camera. I'm just going to do a really quick video now, but you can see these grid lines. They allow me under the rule of thirds to make sure that the center is perfectly centered because of those rule of thirds. So I'm just going to fly towards these trees and now fly over them to reveal the landscape in the distance. It's a really easy shot to actually do. So practice these. I hope you actually are picking up some of these flying techniques as well as we go through this video. So now some of the other things I like to do as well on here, I want to show you about photos. Get a lot of questions about this. So I've just took a photo there. Now if you go into settings when you're in photo mode, you can see the photo settings. So I always shoot in JPEG and RAW. So it's going to capture more data, allow you to actually color grade that as well. And I also use 4:3 aspect ratio, not 16:9. And the majority of the time, I'm actually using 12 megapixel. I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to shoot now a 48 megapixel photo. So it took the photo and it's took about 4 seconds to actually process. If I take a photo now under 12 megapixel, I've hit that shutter about 1 second. So it's a lot faster if you're taking lots of photos. Now, if you've got a really good photo, like an epic landscape, then sure, use 48 megapixel, but it takes at least 2 to 3 times as long to take every photo. Now, talking of photos, another thing I really like to do is go to pano and then use wide angle and also 180 degrees photos. This will then just take a multitude of photos and then actually give you an end result, this like really wide angle panorama shot. And I use this all the time in pretty much every decent landscape that I go to. And these are stored directly on your drone's memory card, so I'd highly recommend doing these, and these are working brilliantly. Now, unfortunately, with the Mini 4 Pro, the downside to using these features is the battery life. And unfortunately, I've already got a low battery warning message, and I was screen recording this, and it actually got about 14 minutes of battery life, which really is not good. And I want to actually test Spotlight to see when it's tracking an object around obstacles like that, will it re-find the original object? But unfortunately, I'm just not able to do that right now because of this low warning message. Now, have you seen the critical low battery message before? There's no way of getting rid of this now like we used to be able to. It just counts down. So if you're not seeing this, this should help you. As soon as it counts down, it's going to force land. Now, you can push up on that left stick to actually keep that drone in the air and fly it back to you, but I hope it's pretty close to you because that drone just will land. If you don't actually push up on the sticks, it will crash. So make sure you're actually pushing up all the time. So I'm going to get the drone. I've got some more batteries with me. So I'm just going to change the battery over and then I can actually test out a few more features as well because we're not done yet. There's more testing to be done. So it certainly is advisable having a few batteries with you. I wouldn't recommend having one battery at all. Minimum 3 is what you need on the Mini 4 Pro. Okay, back to Spotlight. So I've dragged the box around my car here. Now, as we actually go around this tree, it should re-find that car, and it has done. This is great. I have been having some issues with Spotlight recently. I've not been using it that much, but it's keeping track and lock on this car much better now. You can see now we're about 120 meters away from that car. It's still actually locked. It's now just lost it. But to be able to still have Spotlight lock on a car up to 120 meters away is really impressive. Spotlight is fantastic at getting basically cinematic style shots, so that's good. Now let's test cruise control. So cruise control, just as we fly towards me, I'm going to hit the C1 button on the back of the controller. It will automatically enter cruise control. It locks the height and the speed, and you get a really cool shot. Now, Quickshots. I love Quickshots. Did a video on this recently. Let's do drone at 120 meters away. Drag a box around the car here. You can use a D-Log M color profile as well. And the drone's just going to smoothly pan backwards, revealing that scene. It's really good to have. I'm always using Quickshots and just adding them into my footage. I don't use the DJI footage it spits out. I think it's a bit cheesy, but I always use the actual original clip. Now, waypoints, people mentioned that this wasn't working on the last update, so I want to test this out because waypoints are really good. So to activate waypoints, you just click on that little squiggly line in the left hand corner, and then I'm just going to do a really quick like rotation waypoint here. So I'm going to select 3 different waypoints. Every time you fly your drone to a new location, you just hit the C1 button and that will then save that waypoint. So I've got 3 saved here. Then I click on those 3 dots and then I'm going to just reduce that speed a little bit. And then it's going to go back to the first waypoint as soon as you hit start. So it's going to now turn around and fly back to the first waypoint. So this is where I set it to. And then it's basically just going to do exactly what you've told it to, what you've done in the flight plan. So you can see now it's going towards that second location. It's there now and it's doing a bit of an orbit. It's going to the third one. So that's working great. So waypoints completely fixed now. That's working absolutely fantastic. The only thing I'm not really happy about is the battery life. It says that I've got 11 minutes, 24 seconds of battery life left. All I've done is a couple of tests here. 1 really fast waypoint, 1 quick shot, and a really fast spotlight. And it's got 11 minutes of battery life left. So it seems to be depleting battery really fast. Now, it's never been great, but using these features, it does go down really fast. Let's test the obstacle avoidance. So I'm just going to fly full on the right stick into these trees and bushes. And it's remarkable just how well it spots it. Even small twigs goes all the way around them. So the obstacle avoidance is fantastic, really impressive. So overall, really good performance there on the Mini 4 Pro and the RC2. So if you had any issues on previous versions with software not working, features being a bit buggy, I highly recommend updating to this. I go into a lot of detail on this test and it seemed to work really well. So hopefully you get the same results. Go and update this. And if you enjoyed these tips on the settings, don't forget I've got my own DJI cheat sheets for the Mini 4 Pro, the Air 3, the Mini 3 Pro, the Mavic series. And these are going to show you exactly how to get the very most out of these, the settings that you need to use, and you don't forget them when you're out in the field as well. Available on my website. I'm going to link at the top of the description. You go and check them out. So if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really does help out. Subscribe if you're new around here. Go and get yourself some of those Lexar SD cards for your drone, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.